my co- my commentary on Max's live video from Max, Robert Breaker, and Valerie.
I don't understand
A
the
lot
faith
of people said
alone stuff that he.
had Martin Luther lived another 10 years, there's no doubt he would have left the Catholic Church. Till he died, kept thinking, this has to be the true church Jesus founded. It's just they're all apostate
Peter Ruckman
and they're all lost.
shortly.
But it was really amazing how Spain got a hold of that message, and so many Spanish people got saved by believing the true gospel, and yet they were all killed by the Catholic Church. So I said all that to say this. Lutheranism today, what is it? It's apostate. I don't know any Lutheran that preaches salvation by faith alone. Most of them believe in works. They're all going back to the Catholic Church. But God used that many years ago.
I don't know.
So God used something.
How does the Catholic Church believe in works?
They believe in
purgatory.
In the Catholic Church, you have to do works to get to heaven. All right. First, you have to try to do right. When you sin, you go to the Mass. You got to get confirmed. You go to confession and confess your sins.
You have to get baptized.
Or limosnas, that's the Spanish word. What is giving to alms to the poor is the English word.
Right.
You do. It's basically original of you do all these things.
But
and then guess what?
Salvation.
And when you do them all, you go burn in purgatory anyway. So what was the reason you did all that?
I don't think it was for salvation. I think it's because that's part of their tradition.
Yeah, they do preach faith, but what is their faith in? The Catholic faith, the faith in the traditions, the faith in the Pope, the faith in the Father. It's not faith in the blood of Christ.
They believe in the tooth fairy. That's fine.
Yeah,
they can do
but
that.
It's amazing to study history and to see in the 1500s how many people truly got saved, even though once they got saved, they got into Protestantism. I wish they would have got out of everything, but they got into another system that's not good. But at least they were saved. So that's why I said all that.
I think that
there were a lot of saved people under John Calvin in Geneva. But again, he was a dictator. He was a bad guy, you know?
I think that there's a few Catholics, or like not everybody is lost if they go to certain churches. I mean, they just go, they feel better. It's almost like a fix.
Right.
Like I believe that some of them are saved, but I believe that some of them just have to go and get their fix.
Well, no, people in general want to have a spiritual connection, and they go out and they feel like this is what they have to do, and it's a tradition, and they go out and go do it. Not everybody wants to sit up and talk to Max Bauer about hardcore doctrine. It ain't gonna happen. There's only very specific people that be like, oh, I'm going to do fisticuffs. I'm going to do fisticuffs. Most people don't want to hear that crap. You know, they want to have a relaxing time. They want their religious experience to be very sedate. I don't know what to call it. You know, it's kind of like the thing of like, a lot of the Eastern religions are very popular right now because people just want them to be yoga.
They want to feel good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's self-gratifying.
We're going to do yoga. We're going to have some hymns in the background, and we're not going to say anything. And people just want to do that. And
they
to bring them out of
show.
that.
They want. Yeah. When you go to the Catholic Church, it's about the show that you're given.
The show.
Yeah, but you're paying a lot of money for that, man.
There was no movie theaters back then.
You see the buildings those guys got? I think there's those guys.
You go there and you feel, wow, little piece of heaven here on earth. Look how pretty it is.
People are paying for that stuff, are getting their money's worth because that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
$20 million maybe to keep that up. I mean, for the ones in the Twin Cities. The cathedral in the Twin Cities, I would bet it was about $20 million a year just to keep up.
That's where the gold went. They can keep people poor while they live in mansions. That's what's so sad about Catholicism.
Yeah.
And it was all about the Pope being rich. The Pope is the richest person on earth. Even the clothes he wears has sewn in gold in it. Thread.
Who put him in that position, Robert?
I think the Bible talks about that too.
The Pope came about through Roman the Roman Empire. Because Constantine mixed the Roman Empire with church. And the whole hierarchy of the Catholic Church is the hierarchy of the Roman Empire.
So they needed a leader.
He was called the Pontifex Maximus, the emperor of Rome, the Caesar. Why do they call the Pope the Pontiff? It comes from Pontifex. It's the Pontiff. So it all just mixed that state. And it's sad because they mix paganism, the pagan Roman rule, with the church. And it's not right. And it's really sad that people don't see it for what it is. It's not the true church. It's Satan's church. It's the way I look at it, that he formed in order to have a false church that's not God's church. And that's why it has false doctrine in it. It's really sad. There's a lot of history to it. Maybe I'll have to teach on that someday.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of
study
things
history,
in
it's
the
amazing.
Catholic Church
Yes.
we can go into. I mean, yeah.
I mean, Robert, you
that's
just
pretty
seem to
big deal.
have so much knowledge of it, so you must read a lot.
Well, there's
Okay.
2 books. Ruckman wrote a book on history of the church
Robert,
history.
you learned to read last week?
But his work came from Philip Schaff. He read a lot of Philip Schaff's history, which is volumes and volumes and volumes. That's a neat story. I don't know if we have time to go into that. Yeah, we do.
That
Let's
depends
talk
on
about that.
Max. You go ahead. I'm
go
good.
talk about whatever you want to, man.
Yeah.
Okay, we pretty much. I'll talk about something for my own free will, and we'll prove we have free will.
Oh, God did this. God
No,
did it.
it was
God did
something
it.
for me to.
God did it.
I was predestined to unsubscribe.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
there
we're
you go.
talking about following men and how we shouldn't follow men. And so people say, well, aren't you a Ruckmanite? You went to Ruckman school. I don't like to call myself that. I don't want to follow Ruckman. I just want to follow the Bible. And he taught us that. He's like, don't follow me, follow the Bible. But Ruckman was an interesting guy because Ruckman
Sorry,
went to a
Robert.
Bible school.
Sorry.
And he went to this Bible school. And before he went to this Bible school, he was thinking about becoming a Jesuit. He was thinking about, he started going to Catholic church.
Ruckman
trying
was
to
to be a
figure it out.
Jesuit?
Trying to figure out, what's the right religion and everything. He started going to the Catholic Church, and they're like, why don't you come down to Louisiana and go to our Loyola school and be a Jesuit? And the priest is giving him all these books to read, and they're not Bible books. And Ruckman's like, I've already read this, and it's garbage. So he said there's something wrong with the Catholic Church. So he got away from that. And he got saved, and he got to his Bible school he went to. And he went to Bob Jones University, which today is just, I'm sorry if somebody likes that, but to me it's atrocious. I mean, they claim to be King James, but in the classroom they attack it and make fun of it and everything else. So I'm not a fan of Bob Jones University.
Right.
But he goes to Bob Jones University, and here's what he sees. And this ties into what we're talking about. The majority of the teachers in that school were Calvinists. And they're his teachers.
Hold on. I have to go to the boys' room, but I want to ask you a question here.
Okay.
Where are these Calvinists coming from? Because when I went to Bible school, they're very anti-Calvinist, and they're not exactly like the biggest Bible school on the planet.
That's a good question.
What denominations are associated with being Calvinist and predestination?
Baptists, Methodists, many of the Protestants.
Baptists are predestined.
A lot of Baptists have adopted Calvinism, which is really sad. I don't know why, but many Baptists are Calvinists nowadays. More and more, I talk to my friends, and they're like, so-and-so's a Calvinist. It's like, what? So I don't know why so many people are becoming Calvinists, but it was only Protestant. Now it's getting into Baptist too.
I want to clear this up. When we're talking about free will, basically, you have this thing of, does God predestine everything you do in your life, or do you actually have a choice in what you do with your life? That is the whole thing.
Right.
That's what we're talking about.
Right.
And we are on the side of it's impossible for God to not let you have the choice because it's against his nature. And you're telling me that there's people out there, there's a lot of schools out there, and there's people that are actually teaching this? Because I hadn't heard about this stuff.
Yeah, see, Calvinism is the intellectual scholars type religion. A lot of people that claim to be scholars and intellectuals, all theological stuff. When you study to be a theological teacher, you got to study Calvin, and so a lot of people get into it and accept it. It's really sad.
No, you have to do it as part of your school, but I mean.
But a lot of people accept it. And I think they accept it because it gives them an excuse to sit down and do nothing. Because in Calvinism, you don't have to do anything. So, hey, I'll accept that. I'll be a lazy bum.
You're actually going to get
really
less rewards in heaven if you actually preach to people and try and get them saved.
That's where I was going with this story, too. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't want to mess up your story. I have to go to the bathroom.
All right.
I don't want to mess up your story. But I
watch
just
this later to hear the story because you'll probably want to
All
hear
right.
it. So you have to
I'll
watch
have
this
to I'll
later.
have to I'll have to redo it. All right. I'll be right back.
Okay. So Ruckman, go ahead.
I have a question for you. What about the simple people, like people that aren't intelligent and they're born with disabilities and stuff? They can still believe. They can still come to faith.
They
They're
can
not
still get saved.
intelligent.
A lot of them
They
don't become Calvinists because Calvinists, like I said, it's always long, many-page books, big words. It's all try to get to your intellect. Calvinism does. So
Yeah.
simple-minded people, they look at that and go, "That's too many words to read."
That's
So
right.
they don't usually get into that, and that's good.
Yeah. So who's the smarter one?
Exactly. And that's what this all boils down to. So
Yeah.
Ruckman goes to that Bible school, and he's sitting in that school, and he hears his professors attacking the King James Bible and saying things about the Bible and saying, "Hey, this is wrong translation." And he's mad. He's like, "No, the King James Bible is God's word. How dare they say that?" And one of his teachers stood up and said, "Well, in the parable of Lazarus and the rich man in hell," and Ruckman raised his hand. He goes, "What do you mean the parable? Nowhere in the Bible does it say that's a parable. That's a literal thing happening. A guy literally burning in hell." And Ruckman said, his teacher says, "Mr. Ruckman," he said, "do you know Hebrew and Greek?" And he goes, "Well, no." He was in his first year of school. He goes, "Well, when you learn Hebrew and Greek, you can correct the teacher. Until then, you shut up. I say it's a parable, so it's a parable." And Ruckman put his hand down and he said right there, he says, "I'm going to learn Hebrew. I'm going to learn Greek. I'm going to expose this lying devil because he's trying to correct my Bible and he's a liar." And so Ruckman studied Hebrew and he studied Greek at that school. And he was one of the best students in Hebrew. He had a teacher named Brokenshire. Everybody called him Old Brokey. And Brokenshire literally died after he graded Ruckman's paper. And he wrote on the note, "This man can teach Hebrew because he understands this language so well." And so that's when the old man, Bob Jones, started looking at Ruckman and going, this kid might amount to something. Well, Ruckman started to tell Bob Jones, "I don't like any of these teachers. I don't want to stay in school here. I want to quit because these teachers, they're all bad." And he's like, "Why are they bad?" "Because they're Calvinists." "No, I don't have any Calvinists in my school." And Ruckman says, "Well, you can think whatever you want, but that's what these guys are. They're not Bible believers. They're correcting the scripture. I don't." But yet he just chose to stay there. Okay. And so he continued there learning Hebrew and Greek, and he learned it so he could correct the Bible correctors, not so he could correct the Bible, because they were using it to try to correct the King James. And so Ruckman is there, and he goes all 4 years. He gets through school, and he studied church history. And you have to write a thesis, right, in order to graduate.
Okay.
In order to graduate, you have to have your thesis graded by your teachers.
Uh-oh.
He wrote his thesis, and he gave it to the teachers. And the teachers read his thesis, and they turned white. They're just like, and they're like, "We can't grade this." Ruckman graduated the school. They gave him the hat and everything, and they let him walk the walk, but they wouldn't give him this diploma because his teachers refused to grade his thesis. Well, that came to the old man, Bob Jones, the founder of the school, and he's like, "Why aren't you people grading this guy's thesis so he can graduate and have his diploma?" And they're like, "We don't like what he says. We don't want it." So basically, what his thesis was, all throughout history, was the true Bible-believing church and the false church. The true Bible-believing church were the ones that were going out and winning people to Jesus Christ. The false one were these bunch of big-wig scholarly people that sat in the back rooms of nowhere and didn't do anything for Jesus, and they thought they were smarter than everybody else.
Just pushing their authority around because it makes them feel good.
From history.
So can you
and
buy
that
his?
made them so mad that
Yeah.
they're like, "No, we're not going to put an A on this," even though he was historically 100% accurate. And that's your Calvinist. They just sit in a room and talk about how smart they are. They don't go out and win people to the Lord.
Can you do you have access to his essay or his thesis now?
I wish I could find that, man. That would be awesome.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
A lot of it he's put into his book, Church History.
Oh, so it is
that book. And it's all about true Christians are those that going out preaching the gospel, winning souls. If someone claims to be a Christian, but they just sit in the back room somewhere and do nothing, like a bump on a log, that's not someone who's a real Christian. They're either lost or that they're saved. They're lazy bums that aren't doing anything. But you can imagine how that made people so mad.
Yeah.
And when that happened, and that came out, Bob Jones fired a bunch of the professors of that school because he found out they were Calvinists. So Ruckman ended up winning in the end, and a lot of his teachers got the boot because they were so evil. Man, that cracks me up. I love it. Every time I think about that story, it's just like, wow.
Perseverance. Perseverance, yeah.
But he couldn't put up with them because he knew these are liars, these are deceivers. They don't care about Jesus
And
and winning people to the Lord.
In that day and time, Robert, authority meant a lot. Authority. Like today, it doesn't. I mean, people have they make their own choices, and they don't even listen to people in authority anymore.
Going up
Rank, even in the workplace, nobody listens to anybody anymore. They just seem to do what they want. But and I think that's the way it's going today. People just seem. That's why there's so much confusion and so much. Are you saved? Are you not saved? And this is right. This is wrong. It's just that people are taking it and making it their own. Probably repeating myself as to what we said, but that's the way it's coming.
Sure.
And no wonder why there's so much confusion.
When
something is so simple is you believe you're saved and bada boom, that's it.
Yeah, so easy, and yet people try to make it so hard.
Yes.
Well, you have to have a changed life, man. If you don't have a changed life.
Well, that comes. That comes. It's not like you shouldn't be forced to change it. You change because you want to, because you become a new creature.
Yeah, but if you don't, then you're obviously lost. I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, Max, go back to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Take another bathroom break.
Ruckman wasn't perfect, but he's got some neat stories about Ruckman because he was a pretty interesting guy. But more than anything, Ruckman's remembered today to stand for the King James Bible, because in his day they were already going against the King James. Most of your independent Baptists were all, let's try the Revised Version, let's try the RSV, let's try. Yeah. Ruckman was the guy that said, no, you're not moving from that King James Bible.
Yeah.
So that's what I respect the man for, was his stand for the King James Bible. And he was anti-Calvinist. Do I like him? No, he was a jerk to me, but he was my Bible teacher, and I love him for teaching me the Bible and standing for the truth. But,
yeah, and I will say the same thing. Ruckman's got some bad teaching out there, but for the most part, he was very smart. He had like a dozen books that he wrote, and they're all very good.
121 books, I think, something like that.
Yeah, he is very good.
He was very good at preaching the gospel in the early part of his ministry, preaching hard of the blood of Christ. Later, not so well. But yes,
I can't trump the guy up, because as soon as I put up one of his videos, his Ruckman Institute copyright strikes me.
Oh, so, they're really good at that or bad at that.
So. And this was 3 years ago. It was right after he died, and it's like, really, come on, and.
Yet somebody else uses them all the time. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, and I can't trump the guy up, but I can say that I have deep respect for the guy, and I'll tell him, he's wrong here, and there, but whatever. But
yeah, I don't agree with him 100%, but I do appreciate his stand for the King James Bible. Yeah. I wish he would have been nicer. I wish he had more discernment when it came to people.
I actually really, the reason that I like the guy is because he was kind of a dick.
Yeah, you don't have to use that word, but I understand what you mean. That was him. It was, look, I don't want to be like you because you're apostate. This is truth. Either you get over here on this side, or to heck with you. And that's basically, we don't. So many people try to compromise to get along with others.
Oh, right.
And we shouldn't if they're wrong.
Well,
now, should we go to the other extreme and call them dicks? No, but we should try to get them the truth. And the thing about Ruckman is he so land-blasted people, he turned them off to the truth so that they never come to it. If you read his books, all right, my uncle had a very high intelligence IQ, and my dad gave my uncle all of Ruckman's books, and my dad got saved from my uncle was able to. One of the guys from Ruckman's led my uncle to the Lord, and my dad gave him all of Ruckman's books. He read them all, 50 commentaries in less than a month or two. And my dad says, "So what do you think about Ruckman?" And my uncle goes, "He's pretty shallow." One of the best Bible teachers in our day. And my uncle's like, "He's pretty shallow." And my dad goes, "Why? He's got so much good Bible teaching and everything." He says, "Well, and if you read Ruckman's commentaries, you know why. Ruckman will give you 2 or 3 paragraphs of just like the greatest Bible nuggets that you ever seen, and you're just like, yeah, you're eating up the Bible. The next 5 paragraphs are, and so at such a school is a pug-nosed, cross-eyed reprobate. Why, he's so crooked. If you threw him through a barrel of fish hooks, he wouldn't get stuck one time. He's just as crooked as a dog's hind leg. What a fool! And he's just like, you know, if you would take that out and just stay with the Bible teaching, you'd be more edified.
Yeah,
so
but nobody
a lot of that stuff in there was, I mean, you learn to cuss if you read Ruckman, let's put it that way, and cuss very well. Not that he used bad words like dick, but he did.
Oh man, the bad word now?
Well, it's not really the best word. It's slang for man genitalia. So anyway, but I liked Ruckman, but at the same time, he could have gotten
Where are we going?
He could have gotten a lot more people to the truth if he would have not talked like that. You see what I'm saying? So
this is a big thing that's coming down on Max now.
He could have gotten
Where
a lot
are we
more.
going?
Right. Now, I've gone to this. I clicked that. You can see there's a lot more. See that? I don't know why. All these comments. So we'll pause this. See, I was correct. Right? So these people made these comments on live chats. So you can see, and I know for a fact, not very long from here, Robert Breaker's at Robert Breaker. So, yeah.
He could have gotten a lot more people to the truth if he would have not talked like that. You see what I'm saying? So
this is a big thing that's coming down on Max now. Oh, look at this.
Yeah. So I guess if Spurgeon smokes cigars and he's still saved, Max can use bad words and he's still saved.
So
but
should
he?
Bad words for like 5 years, and I come to find out that actually most of those words are in the Bible. So
that last one wasn't. But anyway, so I'm glad I went to Ruckman.
Dick is Richard. What are you talking about? It's a guy's name.
Okay.
Oh, you have a potty mouth. You have a potty mind.
Oh, now you're accusing or excusing you.
No, man. I'm talking out of this side of my mouth. Not out of this side of my mouth. I'm going to talk out of this side. All right?
I'm starting.
Like on the live chat.
Yeah, no one's going to touch it. Yeah.
Cringe. Someone says cringe. So, yeah, we're cringing here. But anyway, that's why I told that story about how Ruckman exposed the Calvinists in that Bible school. And a lot of them were fired by the teacher of that school because of that. So that was neat. That was really neat. Because Calvinists, they like to be in positions of authority and talk about how I'm right, you got to listen to me. And they don't teach the Bible, they're teaching Calvin. And it really makes them prideful, thinking that they're right and everybody else is wrong. And that's not what you're to follow.
I don't understand that whole thing. I really don't. That whole thing about, being prideful about what you're teaching, it's like, if you're wrong, why would you not change?
Breaker, see?
I have to look at other reasons.
They think they're right.
I know.
I mean, how do you change if you think you're right?
That's right.
You want God to help you. Why would you not look at what people are saying? I don't understand that personally myself. There's, of course, people out there who do that. I don't understand it.
There you go.
I don't get it.
I understand. My dad knew Ruckman real well, and I knew Ruckman, and I just enough about Ruckman, but he's gone now, and I kind of look back on him, and I think about the bad of the guy, but also think about the good of the guy. But you know how easy it would be for me to be a follower of Ruckman, like these people are a follower of Calvinists. Stand up, I'm a Ruckmanite, and have all his pictures and everything. But that would make you look like a crazy, wouldn't it? Because obviously you're following a man rather than the Bible.
That's what I was thinking.
Bible believer. Yeah. So why would
I think Ruckman even has the same thing. Why am I not a Lutheran? Why am I not a Calvinist?
Yeah.
Why am I not an Arminianist? He actually has books out there, and that's the same thing that I'm at.
video
I'm like,
is
I'm
not as
not any of
clear
this crap. I'm not going to follow some
of
dude.
Max is all blurry.
I'm not going to follow some dude.
Yep.
What am I going to
Rob
do?
He got a lot of
Van
neat
Fine,
stories,
the
though. He did a
picture.
lot in the ministry, and was really. He almost hooked up with Billy Graham. What a disaster that would have been.
Mm.
Billy Graham asked him to do preaching before and open up for him, and Ruck was like, "Yeah, whatever."
On the comments here, I said on the live chat comments, I asked Rob, please do a video on Ruckman. What I'm asking, which I'll speak to Rob on email, that I want him to do a video on Ruckman, on how he knew Ruckman, on his what Ruckman was like as a person, and the fact that Robert learned from him, right? The good and bad, like his own thing, like what he did a video on Billy Graham.
He's just like, ah. But, and when he was in Bible school, Billy Graham came there, and Billy Graham says, tell Ruckman I want to talk to him. And all these little cronies that thought Billy Graham was so great, they're like finding Ruckman, Billy Graham wants to talk to you. He's like, so who cares?
Yeah.
It's just,
I'm not a fan
that
of
was
Billy
just funny
Graham,
to hear
I can
about.
tell
So
you
he
that
wasn't
right
interested
now.
in following a
Don't
man,
like
but
it.
a lot
I
of
didn't
people
like him.
do. So
He's
it's
dead
just funny.
now.
Yeah, we shouldn't follow men. And I'm not a fan of Billy Graham. I think he really compromised in a lot of what he taught.
No, I like Ruckman. I just, whoever is in running his, whatever his ministry is right now is like giving me copyright strikes if I ever look at if I even glance halfway at any of his stuff on the internet, then I get a copyright strike. So
right.
Oh,
and that's sad. That's really sad.
It's there should be some stuff for free, man. There should be something.
You would think. Now, Ruckman has an awesome book, right? Ruckman was a painter, and he has a book called Ruckman's Apocalypse, where he painted what he read in the Book of Revelation. That's one of the best books. If you get a hold of that, it just makes Revelation real to you. Just see it.
Here's the problem: if I get a hold of it, now I'm never going to, because I don't have the money for that. Probably like $50-$60. I do something like that, it's going to be out there, and I'm going to pay, cost of materials, shipping, whatever, and that's what I'm going to charge. Whoever is in charge of his estate is copyright strike me on anything that Peter Ruckman has up there. So, I have a real hard time with that. I realize you can't just give things away for free. Sure. I realize that. But at the other token, why so stringent on this stuff?
Yeah.
His chalk talks, he must have like 15,000 of them because he's been doing it for like 20 years, 30 years. Why can't you put some of that stuff out there, or even 5-minute cuts of some of that, and just give it away for free?
Well, they're on YouTube. There's a lot of them. You can watch them on YouTube sometimes.
There might be now. I know the last time that I did something, I got a copyright strike, and that was about 3 years
I've seen there are a bunch of them up there. I don't know who's putting them up or what, but that's good. But he never made a lot of money on his books. He just let the bookstore run everything, and he didn't really take a lot of the money. But he's written a lot of good stuff. But like I said, you just have to weed through it. And he taught us in school. He said, take the good and leave the bad. And he said it like eating chicken. Eat the bone, or eat the meat and leave the bones for some other fool to choke on. That's the way he said it.
Just don't
for some other fool to choke on.
But we need a train.
Now what is he doing? What's he doing?
We need a train.
I don't know. It froze up. I can't.
You're freezing up, Max.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're. Pull him back a bit. He's not in focus.
I need a train. I ain't got time to bleed. Where's the predator?
On this video,
I'm gonna get it.
The Max's.
This is my favorite toy. This is my Christmas
blurry,
present.
not as good, not as clear.
For those of you who don't know, this is Jesse Ventura.
Oh.
I have the Jesse Ventura playset.
where Rob and Valerie are both.
And I love it. I love the
nice
Jesse Ventura
picture.
playset.
Well,
We're talking about
See,
hardcore. You know, I don't have the Peter Ruckman playset, but I do have the Jesse Ventura. All
Mr.
right.
Conspiracy Theorist. Where
Valerie's fine.
he stopped
Yeah.
doing that.
And
Those were
Rob's
good shows.
fine, clear
He got
picture.
thrown off.
yeah, I remember
Oh,
that.
did he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was
did.
telling the truth?
Pretty much true. Yep. So anyway, so in conclusion, I guess we have free will, and you proved it because you used the D word a couple times. That wasn't foreordained before the foundation of the world. But do we have free will?
Yeah.
Of course. The Bible
Yep.
says.
I can't.
And did you talk about, do angels have free will? That was
No.
interesting. I mean, the first time we see free will is Genesis 3, when Adam and Eve, of their own free will, ate when they weren't supposed to.
Right. Does anyone think that angels have free will?
Well, in Genesis 6.
I might stop here. I was going to go all the way to the end, but that's pretty much what they've spoken about Peter Ruckman. Okay, thank you.